What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Mythic Legions, Arethyr and Varthogg. I just recently got these guys finally after, pre-ordering them. At the time, funds were kind of an issue for the when these went live on the Four Horsemen pre-order. I just, couldn't afford them at the time, so I had to pre-order them through Big Bad Toy Store. I was happy to finally get them. I did get Magnus and the majority of the rest of the wave. Yeah, pretty excited about these two for the most part. Erithir does come with the Aether Blade and a flame effect for that Aether Blade. And Varthogg, which is actually the trainer to all the orcs for Erithir and all of his armies and minions. So pretty cool. Here we have pretty much the trainer here, and then the leader of all the big bads. I do have a couple issues with Areticulation as far as functionality goes. I also do have a quality control concern, which I will discuss in this, but we'll get to that when I get to it. For right now, what I'm going to do is we'll save the best for last. So we'll put Arethyr to the side, and we will discuss Varthogg here as the the wings just took a tumble. But we'll discuss Varthogg here. He's pretty cool, and I really like I think for the most part, we do have some new pieces on him. He is reusing a lot of Wave 1 body as far as body pieces go. But I think for the most part, we do have pretty much some new pieces here. The arms are the same as Wave 1, pretty much. I want to say the legs, except for the feet, are from Wave 1 as well. Obviously, the crotch piece, the connecting piece to the legs and everything is going to be from Wave 1. The head sculpt is new. The upper torso is new. These shoulder pauldrons are new. This shield is actually from Wave 2 with all the elves and vampires and everything. But we do have a new cloth piece which goes underneath, and that actually does come separate in the packaging. And I'll show you how to put that on. It was a little convoluted to put on, but we got it on regardless. For the most part, these Mythic Legions are pretty fun to kind of tear down and put back together, But I do actually like the bare feet. It does come with an extra pair of feet, which we'll get to, but when we go through accessories and everything. And let me get rid of that silly little dusty hair there. But I really am liking this head sculpt quite a bit. It's a really nice looking head sculpt. It does differentiate from the rest of the orcs that we've got in the past. So that's a really cool thing. Some actual paint shading going on with the brow, which is nice. And under the cheekbones. I mean, we always know when we get a Four Horsemen design that we're going to get really good paint apps every time. Really good sculpt work. I really just wish they would take that next step, that next leap into making their figures better and giving us double jointed knees, double jointed double jointed ankles, double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, and maybe even I really think a butterfly joint would really help these figures quite a bit. The ab crunch, we could use an ab crunch, but really, I mean, for the most part, you get pretty good range of motion there. I more so would love to be able to two-hand a weapon with the Wave 1 body, so if they went back and retooled those, that would be great. This line is rather successful as far as that goes, so it'd be nice to see them go ahead and just go back and retool these, maybe scrap the Wave 1 bodies, or just find, like I said, a way to retool them. But your eyes really are drawn into this new chest piece right here, which is beautifully done with all the gold rivets going throughout and all the nice paint detail, paint shading going on there. Let me just remove his shield here and take his sword out of his hand there. But it looks gorgeous, and I'm just going to have to take the pauldrons off for now. But my eyes just keep getting drawn to whether it's the pauldrons or the chest piece. The chest piece is probably one of my favorites as far as some of the new torso pieces that we've been given. If you look on the back, we have some more gold rivets going throughout the armor plates and everything. The nice paint shading going throughout, nice black paint shading. So a really lovely design here as far as this goes. Maybe not lovely as something you want to use with an orc, but it does look really, really good. And I'm very pleased with that. He does have these nice pointy ears here. And like I said, the paint shading isn't overdone. It's like perfectly applied to specific places. It doesn't make him look like he rolled in a pile of shit or dirt or anything like that. It looks like he's got definition, tone, where the black paint shading is. It kind of brings out the bone structure in his face, so that's really well done. We've got the little teeth right here. That looks cool. The beard. We got a bald-headed beard guy. If I were an orc, I feel like this would be me, maybe. But we do have some really nice paint shading going throughout the arms and everything. We're pretty much used to these gauntlets at this point. The exposed hands are also from, I believe, Wave 2. So that was really nice that they decided to throw those in. As far as this waist piece, it is an all-new piece. Let's just bring these arms up really quick. It is an all-new piece. It's very well sculpted. It's nice to see that we're getting new waist pieces and torso pieces, at least, to go with the old stuff. So that's very nicely welcomed. We do have kind of like a copper mixed with a brown tone for the belt here. But the copper right here for this design piece looks really nice. More of that continues over here on the side as far as armors. The armor platelets go. We've got a nice gunmetal for some more armor platelets, and then like a silver. So there's really a lot of colors actually going on here when you do kind of break it down. There's more colors than you think is going on. And then I really love this kind of crotch chainmail armor that they have here. That's also another very welcomed piece. So very nice. We're used to these legs pretty much. These are wave 1, wave 1.0 body, wave, I keep saying wave 1.0 body, leg armor. So we're pretty much used to this at this point, but the feet looks pretty cool. I like these. Like I said, these were available in wave 2, but these came standard with Varthogg here. Just setting him down and standing him up. He stands up very nicely. You don't have to worry about him falling over or anything like that. And putting the shoulder pauldrons back on, and then I'll kind of go through that a little bit. And the really cool thing about this new chest piece, the new chest armor, I should say. Everybody's falling over on the side of me here. Is that when you look in here, and I'll kind of remove the head for a second. When you look in here, it looks like there's different layers to the armor going up upon his armor to his shoulder pauldron. So it looks like there's actually like layers of armor going up, meaning all the way up to the shoulder pauldron. So it really kind of gives that just awesome look and feel to the figure. Like he's solid. And I think it just makes the figure look even better when you have little details like that to make the figure feel more complete. I love these new shoulder pauldrons. They're so much more menacing than just throwing more 1.0 wave shoulder pauldrons on the baddies. It's nice to see a little change of pace with this. And I really think it like kind of highlights the head sculpt. It does. It kind of draws your eyes not only to the pauldrons and with all this nice black paint shading going throughout, but it really draws your eyes to the center, which would be the new chest piece and the new head. So you can tell right away, you see that. We'll set him aside really quick. Well, actually, you know what? We'll get to articulation really quick. The head can swivel side to side. He can look up a little bit, like so. Can look down. Like I said, let's see if we got some jive turkeys up in here. No turkeys, no gobbles, sorry. Arms go up. It's going to push on the pauldron a little bit, but if you remove those, you'll get the same range of motion. Arms go up, and this is pretty much maxed out. Go down. You can do a full 360 rotation if you move the shoulder pauldron off or disconnect it. You do have a single bend at the elbow there, You do have a swivel at the elbow as well. And you have a swivel at the wrist, and you have hinge joints that go back and forth, left and right, and same on both sides, so they mirror each other. You do have an ab crunch, which goes back. It's kind of pretty much on a ball peg. It does go forward a little bit, but it is hindered due to this new belt sculpt right here. So it's going to be hindered a little bit, but he can look down just a hair. He does have a T-jointed crotch piece, so he can do the splits nicely. The legs can go forward, and they can go back. He does have a single jointed knee, which we're used to with Mythic Legions. He does have also a swivel at the knee right here. It doesn't swivel back and forth, but it does swivel left to right. So it's not going to bend and then twist. It's going to bend and twist this way instead of the other way. Anyway, so he can also point the toes. He can point the heel. And he's got ankle pivot. So there you go. And he does have 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet. So you can use a display stand if you want to from like NECA or DC Collectibles and such. If you wanted to use the DC McFarlane stands, you could. They just pop right into the bottom right of his feet. And they hold very tightly, nice and tight. So, I mean, he'll stand right there. So if you didn't want to use the McFarlane stands for the McFarlane figures, you could use these for the Mythic Legions, and they fit well. Same thing goes for the NECA stands that are currently, I think, in Target and online. You can use the same NECA stands for these guys as well, and girls. As far as his accessories do go, his shield right here is very well painted. This might be one of my favorite weathering jobs as far as this shield goes. The gold rivets, yet again, are back. And we do have these kind of like ruby red pieces that are painted very nicely. It's almost like they weathered over them. So it really does look like it's kind of battle worn a little bit, or has been used for battle. And the black paint shading really does highlight the rest of the just plain kind of silver plastic that we have here. Even on the back, we've got paint shading going throughout. So we do have a handle that is removable. So you can remove that if you want to, and you can swivel this as well. Next up, we have the sword right here. Like I said, there's a lot of black weathering on this going throughout, and we've seen this with Deltagar. We've seen this with, what was it, who else did we see this with? The Dwarf King. This also came with, and a bunch of other figures that we've seen recently. But this is a very cool sword. I think this was like one of my favorite designs as far as the swords goes, kind of like the dwarf sword. But I think it works for anybody, really, if you want to give it to a character. I just really like the shape. I love the hilt, everything. It just looks very nice and beefy and looks strong enough. It doesn't look like it's going to snap after, a couple hits to it. So very nicely done there. Okay, he also comes with a Warhammer. We're pretty much used to seeing this since Wave 1. Nothing too crazy going on here. Let me see if you can detach this piece, and you can, just like the Wave 1 stuff. You got this in the Wave 1 weapons pack, and a couple different characters like Gadriel and Wave 2 got it, and a bunch of others. But really nice paint job here for the most part. But it looks pretty good. Very nicely done. And if you wanted to have him using this, you could as an option. So it's there for you. We do have this typical belt here. I'm not going to use it for this guy, I don't think. I feel like too many of these characters use this kind of plain Jane, one holstered, one sheathed belt. But if you want to fit the sword in there, you could. It will fit in there. There you go. He also comes with different gripping hands right here. So if you wanted to have him use different type of gripping hands, maybe for the Warhammer, you could. It might fit in here a little bit different. It'll still fit in those hands as well. They're pretty stretchy and pretty solid as far as that's concerned, but you do have an option here. You also have two other back adapters, if you want to put wings on him, you could. Maybe a little customization for yourself. You could do this. 2 different porthole size, so you have a different choice for each. You also have a shield adapter. This is what this is for. This plugs right into the back, and then the shield plugs into this. And then you have your shield adapter so it can stay on its back if you have one of those. We also have a alternate head, if I can get this head off. And then we got to disconnect this neck piece right here. We do have an alternate head. So if you want to use this head for Varthogg, or if you want to use it for anyone else, you could. Simply pop that off. And if you want to have him as kind of like maybe, I don't know, one of Varthogg's elite guard or something like that, or elite trained soldiers, you could. You can create a character on your own. This is pretty much, I think, for the most part, I want to say a wave 1 head. So it's just pretty much like an army builder head. I might throw this on a different body though. I feel like this is more of Varthogg's body as opposed to just another army builder, you know? So we'll keep it special and we'll keep his head on there. I think it just feels more appropriate to me. And you also do have the wave 1 feet for the baddies, and even some of the good guys have these feet. I'm not going to pop these on. I mean, you can if you want to. I just feel like the bare feet are more his style, but they are an option here, so you do have extra feet. Okay, last little segment with Varthogg is just to show you how to put the cloth goods on. What you want to do is you want to just kind of rotate this until it pops off. Nice and easy. And then you want to remove this piece right over here, and you're gonna have to pop that over and off of that peg joint. Don't be worried, you're not gonna break anything. It is meant to kind of slide over that. Next, you want to take this cloth piece off, or the chainmail piece off. And you simply want to remove it. Now, the way I did it was I put the longer portion on the back, and I put the shorter portion up front. And then you'll see this big gaping hole right here, and you're like, oh my God, how's that supposed to fit? It's supposed to fit so the crotch covering piece can peg right in here and kind of hold the rest of the cloth down as well. And it is like a kind of like a teddy bear kind of cloth, loincloth, I guess if you want to call it that. And you just plug that in. It helps keep the cloth in place so you don't have to worry about anything. And then once you bring this back and over, like I said, you just kind of push that through, just like so. It really does hold everything in a nice, neat place, and everything looks crisp and clean. And then you just pop this back on, just like so. And these are kind of sharp, so be careful with that. That'll poke you. But that's pretty much it, and there you go. As far as Varthogg is concerned, that's pretty much everything. I am noticing as the more and more I articulate this, there are some paint chips coming off. And just to kind of prove that, you'll see them, a bunch of them on the floor of my table there, or on the ground of my table, excuse me. It's not the end of the world. It's pretty much all it is the paint coming off. Extra residue paint from the joints right here. But all the joints are painted green, so you shouldn't be having an issue, really. All right, up next we've got Erithir here, and he's a really solid figure. Obviously, they named the wave after him because he's pretty much the centerpiece of this wave. So it makes sense to have him as the big epicness. He also comes with his own horse, which I was not able to get. Maybe one day down the road I'll be able to get it, but for right now, I'm pretty just pleased as far as space goes just to have him, because he is a deluxe figure on his own. He even comes in deluxe style packaging, which is, let me scoot him out of the way, which is right here. He comes with wings and his shoulder pauldrons, which are huge and very death metal and awesome. But yeah, he is pretty awesome. Love the sculpt on him. The sculpt is really where the selling point is for him, because essentially he is on a wave 1.0 body. There's nothing too crazy about him. Personally, when I saw prototype photos, what was this, 2 years ago, I want to say, pretty much, I was hoping he would have been on a little bit of a larger body, not just on a regular wave 1.0 body, because when you stand him up next to like Varthogg, if you just take the pauldrons away, he's almost in the same stature. And the only reason he's not in the same stature is because if I switch the feet to the 1.0 feet, they would be the same height. And I just feel like for an imposing big bad, like I feel like he should be like up here as far as height goes. So I just feel like he's a little bit small as far as that's concerned. That's just a personal preference gripe. But overall, the sculpt on his head, the shoulder pauldrons, the Aether Blade. So for those of you that missed out on the Aether Blade, you can get this with this deluxe figure. It does come with this flame effect, which is removable. So as far as the Aether Blade does go, this is pretty much one of the major accessories that he does come with. And I'm going to do these accessories first just to kind of get them out of the way so I can explain it. And then I can kind of go through the intricate details that Erithir has. Here's the flame effect, and it just kind of slides over the blade of the Aether Blade. And you just kind of want to have it posed right about there. And I think it looks good. It is translucent. For the most part, it's a nice yellow painted right here throughout, and then you have a yellow and red at the tips. So looks pretty good. And like I said, it's a nice little extra added bonus display piece that you can use. You don't have to have it set on fire. You can just have it displayed like this if you like. But the design for the Aether Blade is pretty cool. You got like some sort of skull detail right there, which is nice. A little bit of gold rivets going throughout the hilt. And flipping it around, you can see it's got the head of Erithir here, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of like the Erithir with his open mouth and I guess the horns coming out of his head, and then he's got a kind of his like eye covering. So, and it's the same thing on both sides, and it's all just kind of like a black kind of pearlescent color, which is pretty cool. It actually is not just a flat black. So that's nice. The other accessories he comes with are his wings. Now, I have some gripes with these wings. I still don't think that they have the back adapters mastered yet. These holes do become kind of stretched out and loose over time. And I don't know, it just kind of makes them a little bit floppy. Also, in package, and I had to contact Big Bad Toy Store for this, and I got a pair of wings that had these two pieces snapped off already. You'll see these two long pieces right here. Those are snapped right off. So, and that was straight in package, but not to worry. I called contact Big Bad Toy Store, shown them photos and everything of them broken, still sitting in the package, and they sent me replacements for them. So not too bad there, and good on Big Bad Toy Store for stepping up and fixing the quality control concern. So there's that, but the wings themselves look really good. I like the paint shading going throughout. Man, it's so good looking. This is fantastic. I love the yellow and how it kind of fades into the red spines for each winglet. Looks really good. Flipping it around to the back, we even have some black paint shading going throughout the back of the red wings. And like I said, this is kind of an option. You don't have to have them with the wings, but I'm assuming that most people are going to want to have them with displayed with the wings. But it looks really good. All the texturing going throughout the wings, it almost looks like leather. It looks so good. But flipping around back to the front, you can actually see some of the veins kind of protruding and going throughout some of the wing here. It just looks so darn good. They did such a great job on these wings. And like I said, here's that back adapter. And all you really want to do is you want to plug these in to those holes on the back adapter, just like so. And I'll show you how to right here. You want to make sure that this is facing downward. This kind of smooth piece is facing downward, and you want to have those plugged in accordingly. And then just take the hole right here. And you do kind of have to work with these wings and the back adapter, just because these new Pauldrons are so beefy and big. You're going to kind of have to work with that, and you want to just slide it in when you get the chance. And it does just fit. I mean, it's a tight fit, but it does work. Now, the other issue that I have with his wings is that they make him extremely top heavy. So you have to really get him in a wide stance, and it's holding up a lot of weight, especially when you put the sword with the flame effect on there. It's wanting to kind of really weigh him down. And like, he can hold a pose, but for how long is he going to be able to hold this pose before he topples over or knocks the rest of your collection over? And then you do have to work with this waist joint, which on mine is a little bit looser than I like. So you kind of have to get him in a like a specific pose so you can showcase the wings and everything and make him look intimidating and such, just like this. Or you could possibly get him into a flying pose. That might help as well. So, I mean, there are different options for you as far as those wings go with him in the wings. But for the most part, I don't know. I really want to display him with these wings, but it's a tough sell because I feel like he's just going to knock shit over all the time. So, but for now, for the sake of the review, I'm just going to remove the wings. And they are articulated as well, so you can have them pinned downward, just like so, if you want to have them all folded up. And I'll just show you what that looks like on his back. So maybe that could save you some space as well, folding those in. And then you can have him a little bit more upright so it doesn't take up so much space. Just like so. Let's see if I can get him standing up properly. Hello there, puppet. There we go. And you're going to have to lean him forward a little bit, whether it's the torso, kind of tilt him in forward and then tilt the head back a little bit. But you're going to have him lean a little bit because he is a bit back heavy. But this will actually save you some room here as far as just hinging those wings inward. And pretty much the way you saw it was full extension all the way up. So that's the wings in a nutshell. Bringing in Aether here, I think he looks really good. These shoulder pauldrons are insane. They're completely insane. I'm pretty sure he's got like some sort of demonic like dragon head or something like that going on each side. But it is just epic. It is an epic shoulder pauldron. It really does help showcase the figure even more and makes him seem larger than he actually is, because he's really not that large of a figure as opposed to the rest of the Mythic Legions. But these pauldrons are just complete insanity. It's fantastic. These two crisscrossed belts actually came on the figure already. So those were already in the package on the figure. We've seen the Wave 1.0 armored arms before. Same thing with the boots, the legs. Pretty much the majority of him is Wave 1.0, except for this new belt piece right here, and also this new crotch covering piece right here. This is new. The belt is new. This whole design is new for Erithir here. The back, here's what the back looks like. I mean, it looks really well done. But he is a very bulky person. And also with the pauldrons on him, they are very small pegged, or I should say shallow pegged. The peg holes on the back aren't shallow or anything like that. They're pretty decent. Maybe they could be a hair deeper, but the pegs on the back of the pauldron are pretty shallow. So these do tend to want to pop off a little bit once you start articulating him more and more. But for the most part, I haven't had too many issues, but it is something to note. And I'm just going to kind of remove the pauldrons for now and just kind of focus on the head, because there's a lot to say about this head. There's a lot going on with it. It looks really good, whether it is the red painting going on over here, the gauged earrings, which is just awesome. We also have this kind of gunmetal crown for his head. We have these horns coming out of his head, which is just fantastic looking. And we also have this kind of flame effect, and it is a translucent flame effect, very similar to how they used the translucent flame for the sword. It's a little bit thicker, obviously, due to being on the head, so it's a kind of all one big thick plastic piece, but it looks very well done. We can move this visor piece right here, and it's just pegged in on each side. So if we just depeg that, let me just get in there and depeg it. There we go. Nope, it just pegged back in. Okay, we're gonna be a pain in my ass today. But if we remove this piece. There we go. We'll see his face, which is, dude, frightening, to say the least. Frightening, but awesome. He does look very demonic. If I were a religious person and I were to think of the devil, I would think of something similar to this. And if you also look at the nostrils, you'll see that he's got like 4 different nostrils right there, which is pretty insane. And then the all yellow, evil, soulless looking eyes. The kind of skull humanoid teeth that he's got, but they're almost like blackened. They're kind of like gray teeth. Looks really good. He's got pretty much like a red face here, but it does transition into some yellow for the flame effect on the head, which is pretty well thought out. We do have some holes for the visor on the head, so if you did want to remove this head, you will have some open holes. That's just something to note for those of you out there that tend to nitpick a little bit more. But for the most part, I think it looks really good, and you can display him any way you want. I'm going to have him with the visor on. I mean, as much as I love the demonic look of his face, maybe I'd save that for some sort of big battle scene where he gets his visor knocked off and he's like just staring at someone grotesquely. But pop these back on. Actually, I'll just bring that down a little bit. Then I'll pop that back on just like so. But it looks really, really good. I mean, the majority of this figure does look and feel good. I just kind of wish that he was a little bit larger. I really want that. Even if we didn't get the wings with him, I would have sacrificed the wings to get a larger body for him. Maybe to make him feel just even a little bit more imposing. You could have put him on maybe the new ogre body or the Titan body, whatever you want to call that, the giant body that we got. Could have put him on that or just given him his own body. I think there's enough room for improvement here. Maybe they'll do another Erithir down the road. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll do like a second stage to Erithir. Like this is like the first level 1 Erithir where you face him in the beginning cutscene. And then you get to the final boss battle in the end of the game and he evolves into this crazy, huge, like a monstrosity of a villain, you know. But something to think a little bit of food for thought. But as far as his articulation goes, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as a Wave 1 body. It's just extremely hindered due to the Pauldrons and just even the head sculpt. But he can look down and he can look up. He actually looks up way more than he looks down. He can tilt side to side. So there's that. Let's see if he's got jive turkeys. No jive turkeys. The arms go up and they are a little stiff just because he's so brand new. Arms go up. They go down. He can swivel back and forth. I mean, this is really all you need here as far as the swivel goes. You don't, I mean, you could have him go all the way up with it. It's going to eventually pop the pauldron off, and you can have him go way up and do a full 360 if you want him to. Same thing on the other side that is on this side. Single bend at the elbow, a swivel at the elbow. He does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge joint at the wrist. He can crunch forward, he can crunch back, he can pivot side to side, he can swivel. He can do the splits, so he's Van Damming it right now. There we go. Legs go forward, upper thigh swivel. Same thing on Varthogg. He also has an upper thigh swivel. Sorry I didn't include that. Single jointed knee. He does have that same swivel in the knee. Points to toe, points to heel, ankle pivot, and 2 peg holes. Okay, as far as size comparisons go with Arethyr, here is a Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael figure. Okay, next up we've got a DC McFarlane Dr. Fate action figure. There he is standing with a Articulated Icons action figure. A WWE Elite action figure. Yes, I had to do it. We had to put the 2 flame heads together. Here is a Marvel Legends Ghost Rider. Here is a Motu Classics He-Man action figure. Here is a Mezco Darkest Dawn Batman action figure. Here is a Jazzwares Spartan Collection Halo action figure of Master Chief. And last but not least, here is Gideon Heaven's brand. Okay, as far as size comparisons go with Varthogg, I mean, he is pretty much on the same 1.0 body as Arethyr, but he's a little bit shorter, so I figured why not. Here is the DC McFarlane Dr. Fate. Here's the Mezco Darkest Dawn Batman. Here's a Mattel WWE Elite Survivor Series Edition Bret Hart. Here's a Articulated Icons. Here is a Marvel Legend Morbius. Here is a Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael. Here's a Motu Classics He-Man. And there's a Motu Origins He-Man. Here is a Lightning Collection Power Rangers Time Force Red. And last up, we've got Sir Gideon Heaven's brand. Okay, so for my final thoughts on Erithir and Varthogg, I would say that these are solid figures. I want to say Varthogg might be just a hair more fun to play with in hand. If you actually like to really pose your figures, he's a little bit easier to handle. If you got a lot of time on your hands and you want to spend it kind of manipulating Arethyr and the wings. The wings are a little bit loose on those hinges going into that back adapter. And this wing right here likes to droop a lot. On top of that, I had a quality control concern, which kind of sucked. It's not the end of the world. I guess I could paint that red, or maybe even just snap the other two pieces off the other side and paint that red as well. But I also do have a replacement piece for it, so I guess I don't have to do any of that. But those are options I have at my disposal. If that were to happen to you, I would definitely contact where you bought it from and see if they'll replace it as well. The Aether Blade looks pretty cool. It's nice to see a little differentiation between Gorgo's Aether Blade and this Aether Blade, which I believe is, I'm not sure if it's a second Aether Blade. Maybe there's two. I don't know. Maybe this is before he gave Gorgo the Aether Blade, but Gorgo does have the Aether Blade and he does lead his army. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe I just won't give him a sword as far as that's concerned. I don't really think he needs it. I like to think of him being more of a mystical, magical type villain with powers or such. So maybe I'll go that route with him. I still wish he was on that larger body, just a little bit larger. I feel like it would have balanced out the figure as far as him being a deluxe figure. I keep reiterating that, but I feel like it's a strong point to kind of hit home with. So maybe we'll get that down the road with Mythic Legions. They do like to go back and kind of tweak things here and there. We're getting a second version of the Elf Queen. So that's happening. So maybe we'll get a second version of him. It'll be even more epic. But for the most part, like I said, the wings are just an option. It's not a necessity. But I mean, who wouldn't want to display him with without the wings? I mean, I just, you got the wings, you want to display him with the wings. But you know, he's going to suck up a lot of space on your shelf. That's another thing you need to kind of understand. As far as the sculpt, the detail on both of these figures are fantastic. And as far as sculpt and detail goes, I would definitely give them a 2 thumbs up. Functionality, I'd give them a 1 thumb up. The only reason I'm saying that is because kind of the issues I had with the wings, I'm just not very confident in those wings. And they can hinge back, but it still draws the figure to want to droop back even more. So I just kind of leave them flat and facing outward like this. So that's kind of an issue. You can hinge them up or down as far as that's concerned, but it still causes him to be back heavy. And the upper torso is becoming a little bit more loose just because of the weight of those wings. So I don't know. I don't want to display him without the wings because I think it gives him more of that epic feel. But I don't know, at this point, at this stage, I might have to, just because it might hurt the longevity of the figure having all this back weight on him, and even causing more issues with the ankles down the road, causing them to become more loose. So I don't know. Just weigh your options. Like I said, these are just things I'm pointing out that could possibly happen and probably might happen. Overall, like I said, sculpt and paint detail, top notch. I feel like they should evolve some of these 1.0 bodies, though. It's time to start doing that. This line's been out for quite a bit now. So, but I don't know. Other than that, like I said, these are solid figures. The Aether or Erithir, excuse me, goes for I think around $70 now on Big Bad Toy Store, where he was 60 before. So he's going up in price, and Big Bad Toy Store starting to raise their prices on him. So I think he is still available. Don't quote me on that, but check with Big Bad Toy Store and see if he's still available there. There might be some other e-tailers out there you could check with, but other than that, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.